Greetings and welcome, gentles and ladiesmen, to Let's Play Super Castlevania IV for the Super Nintendo. I'm ExoParadigmGamer, and I'm really excited to get this on the road. The special Halloween sort of dealio. Yeah, this game is awesome. Came out in 1991. Excellent graphics, excellent gameplay, excellent music, excellent pretty much everything. I really enjoy this game, and I'm really excited to be sharing it with you guys right now. So, yeah, I guess without further ado. But yeah, you might remember, if you've been following this channel for a while now, that I actually did a playthrough this about a year ago with my buddy Alonzo, who I now do stuff with on Game Mavericks. Oh, by the way, you can change up some settings there in the controls if it doesn't suit your liking for some reason. But I did kind of, first, full disclosure, I'm doing this post, not live, because there were some problems last year that I'd really wanted to avoid this time, and if you're playing the game by yourself, it's just a lot more convenient to just have everything there in front of you and just be able to talk. It's different when there's someone with you, but if you're on your own, then you want to be able to focus, I find. And especially for something that's a little more challenging than what I usually play, it's just best for that. But at any rate, I've decided to read off this introductory section with the greatest video game narrator voice of all time, the Star Fox 64 narrator. So, without further ado, let's get this shit started. Corneria, fourth planet of the Twilight System. Every 100 years, the forces of good mysteriously start to weaken. Thus, the power of Dracula starts to revive itself. His power grows stronger and stronger every 100 years. Peppy Hare and Pigma Dengar of the Star Fox team were sent to investigate. Dracula has revived many times. However, his sinister actions have been consistently thwarted by the Belmont family. It's been 100 years since the last confrontation between Dracula and the Belmont family, but now the serenity of Transylvania is being threatened by destructive forces. This scroll's slower than molasses. Peter picked a peck of pickled peppers. I don't call it tongue twisters for nothing, folks. On a dark and eerie night, Dracula rose from his grave to unleash his destructive power over the countryside. Come on! Hurry up! This is slow as shit, man. Once again, Simon Belmont is called upon to destroy Dracula. With only his wit and courage, he sets out to restore peace to Transylvania. And that's the basic plot. Dracula's back, Simon Belmont's gotta go kick his ass. That's all there is to it. And it kind of implies that Simon's doing this like a second time when it says, once again. But this is supposed to be like a remake or reimagination of the original. So I'm not sure what that means. I don't know if it was a translation error or if they just honestly thought this was happening again. I don't know. Sometimes Dracula gets resurrected by the 100 years clause, or sometimes someone will expedite the process with a ritual or something, like in Circle of the Moon. It's kind of very inconsistent. I'm just gonna assume that this is the first time Simon is doing this, that this is just sort of like a reimagination. But we are not starting at Dracula's castle, folks. We've got a long trek ahead of us before we're gonna get there. But I want to say about 1/3 of the game is just getting to the castle, and that's where some of the more creative levels pop in. Like, once we get to the castle, there's some pretty interesting stages there as well, but when it comes to the trek over, that's something about Super Castlevania IV that I really like. They did this in Castlevania III as well, but the less I say about that game, the better, because I don't want to piss people off. But just to go over the basic mechanics here, Simon is probably at his most flexible here than he's ever been in any other game in the series. You can move in midair, which I have no idea why they didn't program it that way to begin with in the other games. Because like in Castlevania 1, 2, and 3, you jump, and it's just like, oh shit, I didn't need to jump yet, I'm gonna fall into that pit. I want to press left on the control pad to go back. Nope, fall in the pit and dead. It was such a pain in the ass. And in this game, it's just like, oh, you want to move in midair? Alright, you can do that. That's excellent. They added an extra button for the sub-weapons, so now you're not pressing up in the attack button to use your boomerangs and whatnot. You actually have, you know, that sort of ability. And for some reason that I can't fathom, they took out that feature in pretty much all of the games from here on out. Like, even in Symphony of the Night, like, the big-ass DualShock controller with all the fucking buttons on it, and they could not figure out how to give the sub-weapons their own button. And I can't even understand. And they just have not... I guess Lords of Shadow had a separate button for it, but that's a 3D game, you know? Speaking of which, is Lords of Shadow 2 any good? Like, I was keeping tabs on it for a while, and, at some point I just sort of, got caught up in other things, but I liked the first one a lot, and I didn't much care for Mirror of Fate. It was alright. Definitely not as good as the first one. I mean, it's on a 3DS, and the original was for HD consoles, so there's gonna be some degeneration of quality, but, like, the first one had Hideo Kojima working on it, and this Mirror of Fate and number 2 did not, so I'm kind of... I don't know. Leave your thoughts in the comments, I guess, but, Oh, and the most important new gameplay addition in Super Castlevania IV is the ability to whip in any direction you want. And I have no idea why the hell you would get rid of that, but they did that. The next game of the series, Rondo of Blood and Bloodlines, well, I think Bloodlines you could diagonally whip upwards, which is good enough, I guess, but that game's kind of rare and there's not really a good way to play it. Like, I'm playing this on the Wii U Virtual Console, folks, and it's also for the Wii Virtual Console. The SNES card is relatively inexpensive, but when it comes to Bloodlines, you know, like, you can only play it on a Genesis, and that's kind of annoying. I don't hate the Genesis or anything, but it's not exactly the easiest thing in the world to find a copy of Bloodlines for a reasonable price, you know, so... But in Rondo of Blood onwards, you cannot whip in multiple directions anymore, because... Fuck all, I don't know, why would you change it back? I've never understood that. It's just mind-boggling to me. Like, I'm probably gonna edit in the Impossible face. But... You know, because of the excellent control in this game, another thing... I just overall feel that overall the level design in Super Castlevania IV is better than anything in the NES games, just in general. There's a lot less horse shit that surprises you out of nowhere. There's a whole lot less enemies that take like 15 million hits to kill. There's a whole lot less, and because of the greater control, it's a lot easier to hit the enemies that do have a lot of hits. I find that Egoraptor's full of shit. The sub-weapons are still very useful in this game. I don't know what game he was playing, but... The less I say about that, the better, I suppose. But just in general, the better controls, the better level design, the more balanced difficulty... I just overall feel that this is the best classic Castlevania game there is. I am totally with... I guess the likes of the Great Clement and James Rolfe. It doesn't really get better than this when it comes to classic Castlevania. Now, when it comes to I guess I just overall prefer the Metroidvania style games over the classic style, just because I love Metroid style games so much. I don't think Metroidvania is as good as Metroid, and I have my reasons, and if any of you guys care, I could probably do a playthrough of those games as well, but just in general, I feel that when it comes to classic Castlevania 2D side-scroller action, it does not get much better than Super Castlevania IV. Castlevania 3 may have its multiple player characters, Rondo of Blood may have its what's the good word? Arranged soundtrack, and may tie in with Symphony of the Night, which is like the fan favorite of the series, but when it comes to the style of Castlevania game, I think that overall just the control, the level design, difficulty balancing, everything just sort of comes together with this game. It's at just the right length to where it kind of leaves you wanting more, but it doesn't overstay its welcome, you know. So like just a lot of small nuanced touches here and there that really sell this experience and make it, you know, I come back to this game all the time. Like, oh, by the way, you can see me doing that. I realized that in this game you can do the Streets of Rage 1 midair dance spin thing. And if you want to know more about that, you should watch the series of reviews I did with Mr. Titanic. They're on his channel, and we also did some Let's Plays on Game Mavericks of those games as well, if you're interested. And the reason why I'm not doing it with those guys, well, quite frankly, I guess I just wanted to do this solo. I rarely get to do solo playthroughs. I've only done one other one, and that was Metroid Prime. That was like 6 months ago. Holy shit. And I do want to do Metroid Prime 2 eventually. I don't know when that's gonna be, but it's on my list, I guess. Also, I love the track that plays in this level. The soundtrack in this game is kick-ass. Oh, that was bullshit right there. That zombie, he like hit me while I was walking over him. But the soundtrack and the graphics in this game are just fantastic. Some of the best on the system, and it was like an early release game, which is really especially impressive. Like, the graphics in this game hold up now. Like, even in a new game that has sprite art, this would still look pretty awesome. And as far as the soundtrack goes, I know that a lot of people out there will probably prefer the chiptune style music from the NES era games, but for me, if you guys have been following me for long enough, then you know that when it comes to video game music, I prefer something a little more, I guess, musical. Something that actually sounds like real instruments. And that's something that about Super Castlevania IV, they really sell the gothic mood that this game is trying to convey. This darker, haunted sort of atmosphere with their with the organ instrument. Like, if you play this game, then you know what I'm talking about. The organ instrument that. Oh, and something I should probably bring up. If you guys have ever seen my top 10 SNES songs video, I believe, I don't remember what number it was, but on there was the song that played in the previous stage, Dance of the Holy Man, or Simon Belmont's theme from Super Castlevania IV, and it is just a kick-ass song. Really love it. All the music in this game, there's some tracks that are definitely, most of them are up to a pretty high quality standard, and then there are a couple of them that are somewhat forgettable. But, I listen to the soundtrack all the time, and I don't regret it. It's awesome. I mean, just look at the color contrast here between the gray pillars and the sort of the background, the parallax. The sprite work in this game is also great too. I really have very few complaints when it comes to this game. There are a couple of annoying levels coming up that are not my favorite, and I will be sure to explain why, but for the most part, this game is pretty well polished. Very little to hate about it. Oh, and you might want to watch out for the spikes, because they are instant kill, just like the good old days. But, yeah, I'm really excited to get this playthrough on the road. Something else I want to do is, I want to be able to talk to you guys a little bit, because, I've been having... I want to know what you guys want out of this channel. Like, what sort of videos do you guys want me to make? Because no matter what, I'm going to be trying to make the sort of videos I want to make, but if there's something you guys really want to see, then I don't see why I should deny it to you. I could just, one full disclosure, I do have another marathon planned, and I'm kind of underway with it, somewhat, but it's not going to be for a while, mostly because things are kind of busy right now, but as far as, if there's something you want me to do a remake or re-break on, if you want more Let's Plays, I can do that, like, provided that it's kind of short, because I don't have a whole lot of time to make them, seeing as I'm doing stuff with Game Mavericks all the time, but, like, if you guys have requests, leave them in the comments, and then I can read, and then, maybe give you feedback. It'll be a couple parts from now, because I'm kind of doing a couple of these in advance, so that I want to make sure that this playthrough ends before Halloween, or on Halloween, or whatever. But, yeah, really looking forward to the rest of this playthrough. I will see you guys in episode 2.